Look what finally came. Alright, let's open it up, see how she looks. Alright, so inside this box, they did a very good job of wrapping this thing up with really dense foam and tape. So let's check it for any damages. There's none that you can see, obviously. So let's open it up and inspect it. So here it is, completely out of the package. I would definitely say they did an excellent job at wrapping it. There's absolutely no dents. This thing was heavily wrapped in foam, fragile all over the box, and it looks like there's this waxy, I don't know, paraffin wax, I don't know what you'd call that, but some sort of powder wax that keeps it from getting scraped. But yeah, I would say they did an excellent job. Matches the color of the truck and everything, so they got that right. Now we can go put it on. All right, first thing I did was pulled the truck into the garage, pop the hood. We're gonna start with removing this top plastic cover. There is 12 panel clips you got to remove. You can use a removal tool like this. Got this one from Snap-on. Very snazzy, well built, works very well. So we're going to remove that panel, and then we are going to get the bolts on top. I believe there's 4, either 8 or 10 millimeter, and then we should be able to remove the headlights, pop that out, and then get to the bolts for the fender right behind the headlight and get those ones first. All right, after we remove those 12 clips, this thing will pop right up. Set it to the side. Then it will kind of expose the top up here. You'll be able to see that we have one bolt right there for the headlights and one right there. There are another 2, I believe, hidden behind the grill. So next step is remove the grill. There are 4 10 millimeter bolts that are actually holding it across the top up here. So we'll remove these guys. I already got them pre-removed. Then there are these pushing clips that the grill actually push onto. I think there's 3 or 4 on the bottom and then like 2 in the middle. So I'm gonna have to put the phone down, but I watched videos and it's kind of easier if you use a pry bar to get the middle / bottom and kind of like push and pop it out. But this whole thing will just pop up after you get those 4 bolts removed from the top. So that's the next step. So after removing those 4 10 millimeter bolts on top of the grill, I was messing around with it. I couldn't really get a crowbar in here or a pry bar to pop that off. So what I ended up doing was kind of grabbing this top here and the bottom, and I would pop this side loose. Then I came over and did this side, and then the whole center just kind of came out. So this is all one piece now. As you can see, there is one of the panel pop things there. There. And then to put it back, you're going to do the same thing, kind of line it up, push it back in, and then put those bolts on top. So, but now you have access to that lower bolt for the headlight, this one, and that one. As you can see, you got the headlight removed. So there's the 1, 2, 3, and there's a 4th one that's right inside here. The best way to get to it is to undo the inner fender liner and sneak in with your 10 millimeter ratchet extension, whatever, and get to it. It's kind of a pain to get to, but the 4th bolt is right here. And then the whole thing just pops out. So now, because we are going to reuse this inner fender liner on the new fender, I'm going to take all of them out and there are these torque bits all along this thing, as you can see. And the easiest way to get the back ones is probably just to take this whole tire off. So I'm going to get a jack, take the tire off, take the inner fender out. All right, the battery tray is removed, is right there. I got the bolts on that side and this side of the electrical fuse box out. So this whole thing's free from the fender. Let's see. I do have these brace bars that connect over there. I did have to take this one off. I'm just going to leave it connected to the truck. But we can take that one off next. Then we can take these 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts off the front that hold the front part of the fender on. I believe these are, oh yeah, those are 13, so 3 13s and then the 1 10. We'll work on that. All right, front bolts are removed. Now we're going to work on the 2 bolts. As you can see, there's that one way back there. And then there's one, can't really see, but right there, right where my extension's going. So that one, lower one, and then the top one. You will need an extension, 10 millimeter as well. Okay, I think we're finally down to our last 3 bolts. So we got one here, one there, and one on the back side of this hinge. So that one comes out that way, up, and up. Then hopefully this whole fender just pops right off. But before we take out the last hinge bolt for the hood, I'm going to get a prop rod on this side since the hood will no longer be supported. So just for extra safety, we'll get a rod in there, then pull those guys out. Got those 3 bolts out. So the back silver one on the bottom, that goes right here, is kind of a pain to get to because of the hood. And if you don't want to just take the whole hood off, what I did was I took this top one out and this bottom one out, and then you actually can kind of pivot it and you can move it right out of the way, as you can see. So that's kind of a cool little hack. There are 2 last remaining bolts down here. You can see them right there. Take those out, and then can't forget all of this wire stuff in here. Pop these out so you don't rip your whole cords out with your fender. And then same thing with the box. There's the wire clips that go in through the hole. They're easier to pop them out through the bottom, as you can see, like that. So pop those out on all the fender spots that you can see. I'll go by, pop those out, and then our fender should be able to just pop right off. Just like that, fender is out. So this box is kind of free floating. As you can see, I just ran a bungee up to the hood latch, so that's a little bit supported. Probably not the best, but it's holding. So there are 2 pegs here. When you undo those last 2 bolts there, you will have to go forward a little bit past the pegs and then pull up and out. So it is a little bit of a trick. So now that we have this one out, what we're going to do is transfer like this little rubber grommet thing and whatever else we have to from this fender, whether it's these little metal clip things, and move them all onto the new fender. And then we should be able to do everything pretty much in reverse. So that's the next step. We got the headlight bolted back in. We got the inner fender liner all up. Basically ready to put the tire back on. We got the grill back on. We got the grill insert top cover thing on. And this is the finished product. Overall, not too bad. Like I said, it's just same steps in reverse. And she fits really nice. Very happy. Cool.